you? My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome. We're a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 335. We are a podcast that shares our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. Before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. YouTube.com/PS This Is Awesome. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. As always, you can write us at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share this wonderful podcast with your friends and family and anybody else in your little gaming group that you see fit. And we're a video podcast, so you can watch our show if you prefer at our YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed over there. And you will once in a while get a little update. For instance, today's episode is, I would argue to say it's not a day late, but it is coming out exactly on the date it normally comes out. But our patrons did not have access to it early because of scheduling conflicts. So we are releasing this podcast on Wednesday, as we always do every week. It's just coming out a little later than the crack of fucking dawn at Wednesday. Anyways, if you're a new listener, if you're a long-time listener, we have a Patreon. You can support our show for $1 a month. The Patreon tier is called the One and Only $1 Club. Go to patreon.com/PSThisIsAwesome. Become a $1 patron, get a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail, and we will give you a shout-out on the show. You can also interact with us over there if you prefer. With that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today?
Doing good, I guess. I don't know. It's been a weird couple of days. Just we played 2 shows this past weekend, and then some, crazy shit went down, obviously, and with the Trump thing and all that.
The assassination attempt, yeah.
Yeah, which we don't really need to talk about that. It's people know about it, but
the weird thing about it, before you go any further, is that it's very close to where we live.
Yeah, I will say that I can't remember. I was talking with somebody about this. The one thing that I will say is that it freaked me out. The whole thing freaked me out, not from a literal perspective of somebody being shot, because obviously that's a problem. I mean, that's sad, and we don't want, and I'm not obviously there was someone who was killed, but I just mean if Trump had been killed, it would have been sad, but it wouldn't have freaked me out so much. Is it just concerns me about the what is the constant escalation of everything since the dawn of social media and the internet.
Oh, yeah.
There was all these, I was just it's kind of shocking to absorb, and then not even fucking a couple hours or a day after it happens, you see all these freaking headlines from news sites trying to spin it for political shit, and it's just come on, man. Somebody just tried to murder somebody else in front of the nation
on live TV, and it wasn't just a person;
TV.
It was a former president, which is crazy. But then, not only was that attempt failed, but somebody did get murdered on live TV. We just didn't see the bullet hit and the guy go down. Somebody literally was shot and killed. So it's just wild, man.
Yeah, I don't. And then, I don't know. It's just why is it?
We're not going to talk about it, but we're going to fucking talk about it.
Well, it's just, I guess the one thing, like I said, that just bugs me is just why can't we just agree to disagree? Why does it have to? Now, there's always going to be nut jobs. There's unfortunately mass shootings happen. Not that this was a mass shooting, but people like this. But it's just weird because it's scary to think what could have, what would have happened nationally if he had been killed. Like, it could have literally, like, shit could have literally descended into a civil war at that point because of how divided the nation is at the moment.
Yeah, we're so divided right now.
About the dumbest shit too. It's like, why does everybody have to be so wrapped up in like their politics? Why can't people just be like, dude, when I was growing up, I had a really good friend of mine. His dad was a avid Republican and his mom was an avid Democrat. And they were married happily, had children, everything. Like, people could just like
coexist.
You know, they could coexist, agree to disagree, but also learn to like appreciate the things that you do love about other people, and realize that like just because someone doesn't believe in the same politics as you doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Just because somebody voted for Trump or voted for Biden doesn't mean that they, you know, want weed to be legal everywhere because they want to kill babies. Like, that doesn't, like, I just don't understand why we can't just talk. Why it's always got to be just this escalation until things overflow. And I was talking to somebody else, and quite frankly, like, I've absorbed like what I need to know about it, but I've been trying to sort of avoid it generally because I just don't know that it's like, we need to like understand what happened. But dude, I will say, how the fuck did this even happen? Like, how did they not have that rooftop covered? Like, that's so crazy.
That's like
this
the first place you look.
Like, yeah, this is the fucking Secret Service.
I mean, that's the first place I think about looking when I think there's going to be an assassination attempt, or if somebody, like, you check the fucking rooftops and you check the windows, right? I guess, like, nowadays they're worried about people running up on stage with, like, a knife, or people, like, running up close with a handgun, right? And just boom, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, they have, I mean, to be completely honest, that was a wide open field everybody was in. Like, shooter could have been on a fucking stepladder in a cornfield taking aim, you know what I mean? Like,
but I think my beef with it was like, that was the only reasonable building to be on top of within shooting, like within like rifle range of
still really
the president.
Far. Yeah.
And it was like 400 feet, which is a long shot, like 450 feet or whatever it was. That is a long shot, but it's like, bro, you gotta have somebody on that roof. Like,
I don't understand it either.
It's the only one. I
also don't understand how, you know, the cameras all shut off when Epstein fucking died. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I think that there's no conspiracy here. I truly believe that this motherfucker just, first of all, it's fucking Butler. You know,
I think the guy was from like outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well,
like,
that's fine. But
he came in, but it's
like
just
a security detail in Butler. I mean, are you renting cops for the outside perimeter?
Well,
like, what are you? Who are the people? You know, I know the state police were there. I know the Pennsylvania State Police are business, for sure. But like, local cops, local sheriff's office, are they really equipped to like, for that kind of a scenario? They're truly trained for that. I know the Secret Service are. I'm not, dude. It's so easy to play Monday morning quarterback, but I think 100%, like, those buildings should have been absolutely guarded and cordoned off during that whole rally. Like, there should have been no way this guy should have been to crawl on top of the fucking roof with a gun. Like, that's insane.
Well, one last little anecdote, and then we can move on, because I just think this is a crazy story. I was at a business today. We were looking at a new job, and one of our suppliers that we work with regularly, the sales guy was with us, and he was talking about it, and he was like, check this out. And from the rally at the shooting, it was a photo of him on the news because he was that close to Trump when this happened.
Who was?
This guy that I was working with today.
Oh, wow.
He was literally like, because there's like the stage, and then there's like where all the press were at. and he was literally right behind the press.
That's wild.
He was like, he said that he literally saw Trump like grab his ear. Like pretty much everyone's probably seen the video at this point, but like Trump like grab his ear, and then he was just like, we all just got down. Like everybody got down, and he was convinced for like a half an hour that he saw the president get killed, because by the time he got back up, they had already whisked him off stage and he was gone.
He
and
didn't
like,
know what had happened.
no, like you don't think about the app, like that whole thing probably took a course, maybe like 20 seconds. That whole thing was over. And you don't realize like there's how many thousands of people there, and like what does the immediate aftermath of that look like? And so it's really crazy. I mean, it's honestly kind of shocking. Like, I don't want this to ever happen, but with the way people talk on the internet nowadays, it's almost surprising that this doesn't happen more often.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. And I don't mean to be like, I'm not wishing on, I don't want that to happen, but I mean, with all of the hatred from both sides towards each other, and all of the animosity and all the big talk and all of the violence that gets stirred up in all these crazy radical groups right and left, I can't believe that it hasn't happened sooner.
I will say though, if you're a fucking Democrat, you might as well not even vote in the election, because there's no fucking way Trump is losing now. Dude, did you see that picture from the Associated Press of him with like fist pumping with the fucking American flag in the background,
Jesus.
with like blood running down his face?
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way he's losing the election now. I mean, regardless of how you feel about the guy, and I don't really, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about like political stuff on this show, but it's like, it's just, I mean, it's all crazy. And I just hope the nation, instead of using this as a means to like get riled up,
Even more divided.
yeah, like everybody uses it as a moment to like take a step back and just be like, maybe we should talk about this a little bit. Dude, one last thing I promise, then we'll move on to video games, because I really do not want to talk about this very long. But this is just tangentially related. I don't know if you saw, you know the group Tenacious D?
Yeah.
Did you see this story?
No.
So, they just started a world tour, and I guess they were performing that night or the next day, and Jack Black came out and said that they were canceling the tour because that next show, whenever it was right after the event, Kyle Gass, the other guy from Tenacious D, said something on stage along the lines of like, too bad he missed, or something like that. Like some crazy fucking shit. And Jack Black was just like, whoa, we're not doing this. I don't condone any of this. They like canceled the whole tour, like, are reevaluating the whole fucking band and everything.
You know what's
like,
weird about this tells you how divided we are. You realize, like, when JFK was shot and killed, and when Reagan was attempted to be shot and killed, every workplace was talking about this shit. It was all over the place. I showed up at work, not a fucking person said a word. It was just like, I'm with my family, no one said a fucking word. We were at a concert playing, not one person besides the people close to us, and it wasn't like, oh my God, did you hear? It was just like, hey, did you hear fucking someone took a shot at Trump? Like, it was like, let's not start shit. But like, no one's even openly like talking about it in social circles, for fear, I feel, of like drumming up drama with someone from a different party or from the same party, or getting into this whole conspiracy. Like, we can't even fucking talk about this in a way without being afraid we're going to offend somebody or start a fight with somebody, is how fucked up our country is right now. At least where I'm at.
Do we think that it is that so much as like people are just so jaded
Oh, I don't
by
think it's that.
everything on the fucking internet that it's like
No.
because there was so much. I don't really watch the Daily Show anymore. It's a little crazy for me. It used to be awesome, but it's just nowadays it seems a little crazy for me. And I did see a thing they had Jon Stewart was talking about what happened, and he was making comments about how like for the first few hours after the whole thing happened, nobody knew whether to even believe it was real. Like nobody knew
People
because people were
still
just
don't
saying
know.
shit.
People
People
are
are
like,
just saying shit on the internet.
so many people all over Instagram, my feed, where X, wherever the fuck you are. It's either one side saying, "Oh, that dude was paid to go do that because they knew he was gonna miss, and that was gonna embolden all the fucking Republicans and everybody to fucking win. You know, Trump's gonna win the election if this guy." But like, they had to kill him because if they didn't kill this guy that shot, then he would have fucking talked. And so I've heard things like this. I've heard like, oh, the Dems sent him up there, put a fucking Republican shirt on him or like a fucking gun nut shirt on him to make it look like the Republicans were trying to take out their own people. We live in such a fucked up society that no one can just be like, some whack job literally just tried to kill the former president. Like, because he's fucking unhinged and because there's bigger problems in this country than all these conspiracies. You know what I mean? Like there's such a deep-seated issue in America with guns. I mean, whatever your opinion is of them, they're fucking really easy to get. And it doesn't, and like when literally it's all right, whatever. But there are so many people who probably should not have access to fucking firearms in this country. I was at work the other day and there was a guy who literally was like telling me he spoke using his fists and he couldn't wait to come into the office and kick my ass. And then he was also saying shit like, dude, I hang out up on the hill because it's quiet and I punch tree trunks because they don't fucking punch back. I wish they did, because I'm ready for a fucking fight. Like, these are the people in our country. It's like, where are we in this world? Like, where are we that this is just commonplace? Like, there are some really big issues here. Like, we aren't kind to one another anymore for the most part. We're selfish humans. This whole fucking, oh yeah, we can't talk about the fact that someone just tried to like zero the ex-president. Like, we can't, you know what I mean? And like the fact that we started our show saying, I don't even want to get into it, but we don't want to get into it because we don't want the fucking discourse that it can cause by fucking talking about it, because it's not what our show's about. But the bottom line is there are some fucking problems in this country. And like, if we do this the whole fucking time with one another, we're never going to get past it. And it's like when there's when my brother and I would fucking argue and fight, my dad would just be like, hug it out. Hug it right now. Hug, shake hands, make peace right fucking now. You're not doing anything until you make it up to one another. And it's like, okay, well, I guess we have to fucking do this. But nobody is making this country hug shit out. Like, in fact, it's going the other way. And like you said, it's a shouting match. Someone's loud, you don't agree with them, I'm going to fucking shout louder. And then someone doesn't agree with you, they're going to fucking shout louder. At a certain point, we're not going to be able to hear ourselves think. We're going to be able to hear anybody else's opinions. And it's just going to shit. That's my opinion. And that's why I like to play video games, because I can't fucking stand real world. So, anyhow. End of tirade.
It's tough. But what are you going to do? I don't know.
It's fucking crazy. Every week something crazy happens. Every week. Something crazy is happening. But I don't know. I don't know why people are uncomfortable talking about it. I mean, I do know why. I just kind of outlined it. But like, and I don't know how many episodes ago I was talking about how I don't even trust anybody anymore. If I get a fucking phone call or somebody tries to sell me something, I just assume it's a piece of shit, or that they really don't want to make my life better. They just want to make $1 off me. We live in a country and in a world where your cards get scammed. People fish your accounts. You get junk email all the time. People try to bait you. People try to fucking trick you. People try to take your money. People are dishonest with you. People want to fight you. Like, it's just like the world's fucking crazy right now. Like, we just can't fucking get along. Keep your friends close, people.
Yeah. It's hard to believe anything you see anymore.
I don't believe anything. Yeah. But I believe that shit happened for sure. For real.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, dude, anyways, I was trying to think of the... Oh, I have an issue. So here's the deal. When we got this house, we got a home warranty with it. It has been very hot this week. My central air motor shit the bed. So it has been like literally 84 degrees in my house for like 2 or 3 days. We have a home warranty. I call the home warranty because it's $100 service call. And for that $100, they're either fixing my AC unit or they're replacing the whole fucking AC unit. That's the way the home warranty works. End of the day, it's going to get fixed. The problem is that I live in bumfuck Egypt. So the home warranty company is like a big warranty company. So they should have contractors on their Rolodex for this area that can come fix my AC. And they only work with contractors because that's who they have agreements with. And, you know, when they do the thing, they bill the warranty company pays them. The closest one, surprise, surprise, Butler, Pennsylvania. So it's a ways. It's like an hour, 45 minutes from here. The service call, this place gets assigned. I get a phone number. It says if an appointment is not scheduled within the next 24 hours, here's their phone number. Fucking call them. 24 hours comes and goes. I fucking call them. It's just like, hey, this is Jolie from, I don't even know what the company's called. It's something like Cool Air or some shit like that. Go ahead and leave a message. And I leave a message. Gave them my info. Said, hey, you accepted a job through my home warranty company. You were assigned a job. Here's my phone number. Here's my address. I want to arrange an appointment for you guys to come down and check out my shit. It's through the warranty. I'm not paying you. The service fee's already paid for. But now you got to come do the work. No call back. 12, 13 hours later, I call again. Hey, this is Jolie, blah, 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 blah. Leave a message from Cool Air or, you know, frigid temperature or something. And I'm like, all right. I leave another message. Hey, just call them back. I said, I don't do this warranty thing a whole lot. The only reason I still actually even have the warranty is because they make it difficult to get off of it. You have to actually discontinue your subscription to the warranty in the month that you purchase the warranty. And if you don't, then it automatically renews and you can't opt out of it again for a year. And I always fucking forget. So I've just fucking perpetually like paid into this thing. And I'm like, well, this is actually kind of convenient because I need fucking work done. No response, no call back. So now it's been 3 days. I'm so fucking annoyed. And the last time that I had to use it, because it was cost savings at that point for me, they were like, okay, well, we do have a thing in place. If we can't find a contractor close enough, we can either cut you a check for whatever, but we'd like to have someone assess the unit, assess the thing that's wrong, and then see if... So the first step is they try to get it fixed, you know, and I'm pretty sure it's the motor because the turbine and the blades aren't spinning inside of it, and it got really hot when it was supposed to be kicking on, so something's fried in there. So I don't know what the deal is, but I've got no AC, first world problem, I know, but like I'm not sleeping well right now because of it, and it just is really annoying. So, American Home Shield, I'm putting you on blast, warranty company. They've been really good in the past, to be honest, but they don't have any contractors close. And I think the person from Butler is like, fuck, I'm going to go replace a motor, bill them like $400, but I got to cancel all my appointments for the rest of the week or whatever for a day to get down there, do this job. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure contractors hate doing work for those companies because I'm sure that warranty company is gonna question and squeeze every single fucking penny out of that contractor.
Well, that's why you can't find any around
to pay
here.
as little as possible.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that, I mean, I just say just call fucking votes. Those guys are awesome.
Well,
they come do my shit all the time.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I went online to see what it cost to replace a motor, and they were like, oh, it can cost, like, if you do it yourself, like up to like $500 for number one for the motor, and then I guess if they're factoring in the time it takes to pull that shit apart and re-put it back together, and they got to kill the electric and the breaker, you got to make sure to install it right and all this bullshit, and I'm not about to do that. So I'm hoping that my unit is so old that there's not like a motor that quite fits it and will work with it, and then they just replace the fucking unit, or whoever comes out to look at it is just like, that happened once with my dishwasher when I used the warranty company years ago. They were just like, yeah, we don't even make the part anymore, so we got to just, and then it was great. I just picked the dishwasher out, bloop, and then it showed up at my house and they installed it for $100 or $70 or whatever. It was fucking dope.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I get a new AC unit, but it is what it is. So that's been my life lately. Jake, let's talk about games we're playing. If you guys didn't notice, the title of this episode is called Ruin Has Come to Our Family. So I am so excited. Darkest Dungeon 2 is now available on console. And I'd be lying if I said I'm glad I'm not playing it. So I wish I were playing it right now. I really want to spend more time with this. I have not had a lot of time to sit down with this game. There's a couple things about it strike me a little like this, but I think it's a mixture, and it's as I recall my experience with Darkest Dungeon, the first one. So Darkest Dungeon 2 is more of a roguelite. So Darkest Dungeon 1, there was like, you would build characters up and build them, and then when they would die in the dungeon, they would just be killed off, and you have to rebuild that character back up. This is roguelite in the way that, like, you run these journeys or exploration things. You're in a stagecoach. So what was the card game that was a roguelite kind of like that we played? It was on PS Plus.
Slay the Spire?
Yeah. So there's like a Slay the Spire vibe to the way the stagecoach moves. So you can zoom out on the path, and every once in a while you'll have an option to pick left or right. And depending on your character's scouting ability, and depending on some of the relics and stuff you have equipped on your stagecoach, the game will either tell you what these. So there are nodes on the map, and every time your stagecoach gets to a node, it stops automatically, and you resolve whatever is there. Sometimes the identity of these nodes will be revealed to you based on your party and based on random number generation or whatever, and you can go all the way up and look at the entire path till you get to the inn. Sometimes the course that you pick, if you go left, if you go right, will be brigands or people, a roadblock, and you get ambushed by bad guys. And it goes back to the combat we love from Darkest Dungeon. Other times, it's like some sort of thing. It's like these peasants show up. It's just that dark, gritty vibe. And every character in the stagecoach will have an opinion of what you should do. Do we help them? Do we leave them to the wolves? What do we do? And depending on the decisions you make, not only here, but in other places, you get rewards, but you also can create dissonance between the party members. You get 4 members on this run, and if they disagree with one another, they can become hateful and vengeful towards one another, which creates certain skill sets when you use them to have negative effects on your party. So, like, it's a whole thing, like the way that they interact with one another. So there's also these things that I'm learning. I haven't played a lot of time. There's these things called ritual buildings or something like that. I forget exactly what they are. But what it is every character class has a backstory. And if you can successfully navigate the wagon to one of these ritual places on the trajectory of the map, you go left here. The next time you take a right, then you go straight, and then you find one of these things. you get to reenact a part of that character's past. Sometimes it's a clever puzzle combat mission, sometimes it's not. But every time you do this successfully, it unlocks a skill for them. So when you get to the inn, your heroes can replenish. If somebody dies between the starting point and the inn, they will randomly get replaced by the next available hero. So you always start every new jump with a set of 4 people, so long as they are available, from what I understand. The problem is that it's fucking hard, and there are so many icons. So they use these little icons under all the characters. They're color coded, and then they have different shapes. And the only quick way to get to it is if you're on the travel map with the stagecoach, you press down on the D-pad, and it shows you a legend of all these icons and what they mean. However, when you go into the character sheet and you're trying to equip things to your character, it says, well, this does -20, and it's like a swoopy signal. And then it's like, this does +20 to this. And it's like some sort of weird explosion symbol. And then one looks like it's like a Z or something. I have to get out of the character sheet, get out of the next thing, go back to the stagecoach, press the D-pad, try to remember what those logos look like, to look at the legend to see what those things are. There's no way when I'm on the character sheet to access a key for all of these things. So when I'm trying to spec out my characters to make them work in concerto with one another, it becomes tedious because I'm backing out, boom, 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 then my stagecoach, and I'm pressing the button. I'm trying to remember, okay, what color was it? Is it this one? Okay, then I go back in, then it's like, oh, I don't want to use that one. Then I got to find another relic. And it's like, well, what's this one do? And I got boom, 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 back out. So there's a learning curve to understanding these icons. There's a learning curve to understanding how the characters work. It doesn't feel as plug and play as the first Darkest Dungeon. They've expanded on a lot of the mechanisms in this game. It's way more complex. So in that regard, to me, it's less enjoyable because the game is difficult already to begin with. However, their narration is back. It is 3-dimensional now graphics, but it's not 3D. It's just like instead of being completely flat, the characters have some rotation and stuff when they attack, and they move. There's actually movement. It's not just this and then like smash cut to like somebody doing like an uppercut and a sound. It's like you see the whole motion, so it's animated. The other thing that I'm kind of confused about, you can access all those icons by going into the menu, going down to certain things and finding it, and then opening it. But you might as well just get out and press down on the D-pad and pull it right up. So there are ways to access it while you're on the character screen, but it's still not easy. They should have come up with a way. So, and I think it's a lot like Darkest Dungeon 1 in that this game is meant to be played on a fucking computer with a mouse. It's just fucking meant for this. It is very confusing still. I probably have like 2.5 hours in, which isn't a long time. I hear the campaign takes 60 to 80 hours to beat. But like every time you go through, your party gets wiped. You're essentially playing, you get all the characters back. You start at the beginning, but everybody's more powerful. So it's roguelite in that regard. But you keep the trinkets, I believe, that you want to keep. The stage, maybe you don't keep the trinkets. Maybe you keep the skill sets. I'm not quite sure how it works yet, but it's not like the first Darkest Dungeon where when they're wiped, they're gone. The character classes come back, but some of what you've unlocked on the last run stay available. You know what I mean? So it's roguelite in that regard, which is annoying because we talk so much shit on those kinds of games. So I am disappointed by that. But I think like the reviews and stuff that I've read about it is that if you just put the time in, it all starts clicking. And I love this game in general. I love the franchise, so I'm going to put the time in and learn it. It is fun. The combat is so slick. I love the combat. I love the turn order stuff, the turn-based combat. I love the way they've come up with such an incredible combat system in this franchise. Just the way it works is so neat. But I do enjoy the game. I need to spend more time with it. I'm very happy with the overall aesthetic and the, I guess, the art direction approach. They're using really thick, heavy lines again. It looks grimdark. It looks, it's got that whole fucking dark gothic kind of vibe, which is fucking rad, and they kill it. But and even the stagecoach going through these different, and like, when you run the stagecoach from the bottom of the map to the top of the map, you get a 3-dimensional stagecoach, and it's just like fucking hurling through these streets. If you're in like a city, and like there are traps that you can hit where like arrows just come out of nowhere and just impale themselves on the side of your coach, and your coach has life, your stagecoach has life, and you have to repair it when you get back to the inn. So you don't want to hit too many traps on the way down, or it affects your heroes. So you have that going on. You have negative traits for all your heroes. You have boons with relics and trinkets. You also have different food and items that you can apply when you get to an inn at the end of the map. You also have the relationships that you have to monitor between your characters. Some, which I understand are randomly generated. Some you can influence by the things that you stop at. Every character has their own set of special moves, where you put them in the lineup when you attack. So it's very strategic, but it still relies heavily on random number generation. But if you understand the game mechanics, it's my understanding that you can still stack the deck in your favor, but you're still essentially rolling dice. You're just increasing your odds of having better runs. So it's a mix of like good and bad in that regard. But so you get through the first section of the map, and then you get to an inn, you heal up, you equip the things, you have a chance to buy stuff from the shop there at the inn or whatever, and then you embark on your next run. And the next run isn't the same location, it's a new location. And it's different graphics. It's like maybe it's swamplands, maybe it's a wooded forest, and I think essentially you're trying to get to the base of a mountain, to get inside the mountain, and there are essentially five bosses that you have to take out. I don't know if you kill a boss, if it stays dead. If you have to do it all in one run, that would be fucking insane. That might be the case, I don't know. But essentially, small spoiler, the story of Darkest Dungeon, my understanding is that like there was this rich guy starts off with this thing. It's like, ruin has come to our family. And he talks about how like the wants of man or of humanity, he was no longer interested in these things. And he gained a curiosity for the afterworld and the thing. And he found this down in the basement of this mansion he owned, he and his family, like he found this opening. And then he paid these people to drill and dynamite and get this thing opened up. And he went in, and there were horrors underneath his mansion. And that's Darkest Dungeon 1. And it turns out that like they go so far into this, they get to the center of the earth, and it's the maker of everything. And you're essentially like in a fisticuffs with the creator. And I think the way Darkest Dungeon ends is like, 2 members of the party have to die, and then 2 live. And then Darkest Dungeon ends with the stagecoach like zipping away from the mansion. So this picks up right where that leaves off, in that you're in a stagecoach now, and you're trying to get to this mountain to dig deep because you've come onto some information or something that like you have to stop whatever's happening. But I think it's set up so that like each character is effectively what is the word? You are the offspring or the heirs of the people before you, right? So you're still carrying that torch, you're still doing the thing, you're those people, and you're just coming back, and you're trying to get to the base of this, but like you're just not good enough. So every time you die, when you start the stage, there's a broken stagecoach where you start, and it's like the remnants of the past party, and you're going back at it. So you're in this infinite time loop, trying to save everything and everybody by destroying the creator, decimator of worlds. And it's so fucking wild. I don't really know the whole story, but it's crazy. because everywhere around you there's blight, there's fires, there's like there's even astral shit. Like there's like things that look like squid and like fish people, and they're like just like slurping around. There's famine, and like you're just this group of adventurers just trying to fucking put an end to it all by taking out this thing under the mountain. So it's really fucking dope, but it's very fucking hard. But I love the game.
So is it permadeath? Or is it just that if you die, you have to start your run over?
Correct. You start the run over. I think you maintain all the skills that you unlock from looking at the people's back history. You know, you got to unlock those by doing their history, whatever. Like the grave robber, it started off her first little historical mission at the whatever it's called. I'm only a couple hours in, but like. It's like maybe the pool of reflection or something you find, and then it says, you know, it was the luxury, the lap of luxury or something was the first part of her story, and it was just like it didn't give you a skill, but it just said something about how you know she spent her evenings at the ballroom, but her something else, like I don't know. And then the next part of her story was that she had a drunk husband, and then it's you not looking like the grave robber that you look like now, in a drunk husband, and he's like tipsy and he's like trying to like fucking yell at you and stuff. So you have like two moves. One is to back off, get away from him, and then the other one is to take a breath. Like you just breathe, or you go back, and then one is to poison his drink. So like it's a mini puzzle, and if you back off long enough and just keep taking a breath, he gets so fucking inebriated he starts like getting like this, and then she says, "Now's my chance." And then if you poison the drink, you poison her fucking drink, and then he takes a sip, and then he gets the blight, and then a couple more turns on his part, and he dies. And then it's like. And then she comes back to like her story, and it's like, and that's how I dealt with him, or something like that. So it like reveals parts of these character stories. But by doing that, I got some sort of special maneuver that I can use in the game now as her in the party. So, but in order to unlock those things, you got to find these pools of reflections for all the characters, and you don't know which ones you need because they don't tell you what you don't get to see. The special attacks or the maneuvers until you unlock them. So you don't know when you get to the pool, they're hard to find. When you get to them, you can only use, first of all, the people in your party, and then you can only pick one person in the party and then you have to beat the thing to get the thing. So like you're slowly becoming stronger and better, and your stagecoach is unlocking more slots to put like torches on or whatever on. But like it's going to be a fucking grind, and it's going to be really hard, but I'm in for it, man. I think this game is so fucking sick, but like, I'm frustrated that it's roguelike. I really wish it would have just been like the same mechanics as Darkest Dungeon, but maybe not, because I never beat Darkest Dungeon. I got to like the darkest fucking dungeon with leveled up people, and I just got decimated. So I looked up the ending on YouTube. I came so fucking close to beating it, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know how many hours in Darkest Dungeon I have.
Yeah, I'll probably never play these games. I just anytime, and the thing is that like 70% of what you're telling me sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's just the replay nature of those types of games that I can't deal with it. Not to open this old fucking can, but I just can't be replaying the same shit over and over again.
Right.
Like, especially like because if you get through like, because I had the same problem with like any of these games, like even Slay the Spire and stuff, where you get a really good run and you make it all the way to, you know, the last fucking boss of this area or whatever, and then you get some bad RNG or some shit, and then you get killed and you have to start the whole fucking thing all over again. And it's like, it's kind of like how, I mean, obviously what you were talking, that Alien game you played was a lot worse because it was the whole fucking campaign. But like That's how I like it. It's like I love these games, but every time that happens, a little piece of me dies inside. And I get unreasonably frustrated and upset whenever I play those types of games. So my best bet is to just appreciate them from afar. I think that the art style and like the setting and everything of Darkest Dungeon is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think everything about like I think I even like the combat and like the character afflictions, and even what you're telling me about like this character relationships in this one
Yeah.
sound really cool. Like it seems like these games have really dope ideas. I just wish it was a linear story and not like, and I know that this is a linear story, but I wish it was just a checkpoint based game and not like it's, you just die like to me. 'Cause it's just like, it's just like, oh, so I just die enough times, and then now I have enough power to get through this area. Like that mechanic just doesn't do it for me.
So I guess I'm looking at it now. I hear you. And I guess when you get to these inns, if you feel that you can't progress any closer to the mountain, you have the option to end that journey. And if you end that journey, you keep more shit as opposed to if you get a party wipe. So the only thing that you actually keep when you get a party wipe, when you don't make it, is the skills you unlock and the candles. And the candles apparently... Here, let me pull this back up, dude. Because this is a thing. There's so much fucking shit to this. It says... Someone had to ask this. This was way back at the end in May of last year when this was on Steam. So I don't know if they've changed this or not. But they're like, do I lose anything on death of a party, or is it better to just end my journey at an inn? It says you keep your candles. Your characters keep their skill unlocks from the memory episodes. That's like looking back in their past. And it says candles are the currency to unlock character accessories and other items you can buy or find afterwards. Next run, you start with new characters and new quirks. You need to upgrade all your skills again every run. So you best keep on fighting till you die and then spend your rewards afterwards. So, and it says, in each inn gives escalating rewards, so it's best to only abandon when you're sure you're going to fail to reach the next inn. So the closer you get to the fucking mountain, the better the rewards are going to be. So you push and push and push and push. And then I guess there is a benefit to like ending the journey. I wonder if you keep those characters if they don't die. I don't know.
But then what? You have if you end the journey, then what? You start back over, but you keep all the shit that you had?
Possibly. But that sounds pretty forgiving. So I really don't. I mean,
you still have to replay all that shit, though. I mean, that's like the whole. It's like, I mean, these games rely on you just loving the gameplay more than anything else.
Yeah, it is. And it is great.
I think that's gameplay. Cool, but like you're talking about the bosses. I would be. Based on the way that a lot of these games play, I bet you have to play the same fucking bosses over and over again.
I'd be so fucking pissed.
Because that's the way like
I know.
everyone jacks off Hades all the time, and it's like, yeah, I get to the first boss and it's tough, but I beat her, and then I get a little bit farther and I die, and then I have to go fucking fight her again, and then get to the next boss, and then I die, and then I go back and I fight those two bosses again, and then get to the next boss, and then I fucking die, and it's like. It should be a little bit more like Dark Souls or Demon Souls, where it's like, I beat the boss. Now, even though I have to go back through this area, I don't have to fucking fight the boss. I just walk through that area and go to the next area.
Right.
Like, you can make me replay the whole thing. Just don't make me fight the fucking boss again. And I always thought that was kind of a neat little caveat to the way that the Souls games works. Not that they're necessarily roguelike, but they have elements of that because of the souls, and you can lose them if you die and like all this stuff. So and enemies respawn and all this shit. So So yeah, I don't know, but I'm glad. I mean, you've been talking about it for a long time, so I'm glad you finally have a chance to play it.
Yeah,
And it seems
dude.
like you're really liking
I,
it, so that's
I
cool.
wanted to play this game forever, and I'm gonna have to like. I'm on the wiki page right now on my phone looking at it. It's so fucking in depth. But like I still hate the way I have to navigate the game with the controller. With pressing R2, R3, L3 circles to back out of things. Circle also stops the stagecoach. X makes it goes forward. And then like when you're in the menu, X selects things. And then you gotta like it's just like the controls are fucking shit. That's why I'd rather play it with a mouse, but this is the only way I can play the game. So anyways.
Yeah,
It's called the
I get
Shrine
that.
of Reflection, by the way. Not the Pool of Reflection. I don't even understand. I don't know. There's armor for the vehicles or stats. There's upgrades. It's got different skins. It's kind of wild. I want to see what it says about locations real quick, and then we'll move on to the rest of the show. It says each run begins and ends at the Altar of Hope, where the player may spend candles of hope and manage the game's meta progression. Then the player proceeds to pick a confession and assemble a party at the crossroads. The main part of each run is spent traversing various regions. Each region consists of a number of nodes linked by the roads. The first region of each run, the valley, has a fixed layout and serves as a sort of tutorial. The final region, the mountain, is where the party confronts the confession boss. The number of selection, the regions in between varies. So the places are called the Sprawl, the Tangle, the Fader, the Shroud, the Sluice. There's so many different locations too. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm just trying to like wrap my brain around it. And I've made it as far as the Tangle. I always die in the Tangle right now, which is the third place. So, I don't know. Anyways, Jake, what are you playing, man?
You had something on there about a racing wheel. Do you want
I
to talk
got
about
the
that?
racing wheel from my buddy Ben. It's heavy as shit because he has it mounted to an actual chassis. So like it's just ready. It's got to set a chair up. It's got all the pedals. It's got the shifter. It's got the steering wheel. It's got the plug to power it. So it's got resistance when you play it. So, and I can't wait to fucking try it. But I'm in Darkest Dungeon land right now, man. I should just use that to play Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah. You mean
I'd have
it's
about-
not like you have to do anything real crazy. You probably could.
Have about the same luck. Yeah.
So I ended up after last week. Excuse me, I'm stretching. After last week, I ended up buying Dragon's Dogma 2. So I've been playing that. And dude, I fucking for some reason really like this game. I can't put my finger on it. Why I like it so much. I think it's just like the vibes are hitting me right now. The world. So this game is made with the RE engine, which is what was used to make like Resident Evil Village and stuff like that. So it's beautiful, which is awesome. And the art style in the world and everything has like it's not exactly the same as The Witcher in terms of like the way the art style works, but it gives me those like vibes of like the style of medieval that it is.
Right.
And it's really really cool, and I love like I'm not sure 100% how I feel about the pawn system yet, because I talked a little bit about it last week, but basically it's like you have a set of 3 NPCs that run around with you, and there's this whole like everywhere in the world you come across people that you can swap out for any of these NPCs at any given time, depending on what kind of people you want in your party. It's almost like swapping out rosters on like a sports team or something, where it's like, oh, okay, well, I've got some deficiencies in healing, so I'm going to look and see if I can find a mage that specializes in healing, and I'm going to bring them in and swap out because I have 2 rogues, so I don't need 2 archers. I'm going to swap out a rogue for one of these mages or whatever. And each one of them has like they have a temperament, so whether they're like calm or aggressive or kind-hearted, and it kind of is how they talk with you and how they interact with you when you're walking around the world. But then they also have like subtle abilities, like one of them might be proficient in healing items. So if you equip them with healing items, they'll like heal you mid combat and stuff. Or one of them might have the ability to be able to sell your shit for you, so you don't have to run around and do it yourself. And then they also have like a trait whether or not they're a quest. What is it called? Like a quest guide.
Yeah.
So some of them have the ability to be a quest guide, where when you're running around, they'll like know where you're trying to go, and they'll like wave at you and like have you follow them to the next objective and stuff, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little feature. Like rather than having, you know, a line drawn on the map that you follow or something, you can just find one of these NPCs that is willing to tell you what to do next in your quest. And then I don't know I'm not really 100%. Each one sometimes has they have like a pawn quest or something. And it's like, if you fulfill this task with your pawn, you get a reward. And I'm not really sure what that is about quite yet. I think it's just like, because a lot of them that I've gotten so far are like, travel 2 days with this pawn. And it's like, I think if you just do that, you get whatever the reward is. But I think the whole point of this pawn system is that it allows you to like swap, like I said, you like swap NPCs in and out at will to sort of tailor your play style. And you can change you have one pawn that's with you for the whole game. So that those, like you and your main pawn, you have the ability to change vocations, like whether you're a mage or a fighter or a wizard or like a warrior or whatever. And so you can change yours and you can change your main pawns. So like right now, I'm a thief character. In my main pawn, I had her start out as an archer or like a hunter or rogue or whatever the fuck they call it. But right now, I have 2 pawns that I picked up along the way. One of them is a warrior or a fighter, and one of them is an archer that is really good. And I like her aesthetic is really cool and everything. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is taking my main pawn, who's also an archer, because I don't need 2 fucking archers, and I'll just change her vocation to be a mage, and now she can do like cast spells and stuff. Now there is a drawback. Like when you change a vocation, you have to level up that vocation to unlock the abilities for that vocation. So like if I give her a staff and call her a wizard, she will only have like the basic abilities as a wizard until we play for a bit, and I can unlock like the fireball spell. And so you can't just be like flipping willy-nilly. It kind of behooves you to like pick a path and sort of level that up and get skills in there. But you can constantly change it around and stuff, which is pretty neat. This game, it also like another thing that I really like about it is that a lot of just funny shit happens in it. And like, just because you're running around and you're fighting and like all these NPCs are following you around, mm-hmm. and like a lot of times you'll come across other parties of NPCs and they'll like randomly join you in fights against monsters and stuff. And like, you can, like one of the archer's abilities is like this super heavy shot. And when it hits certain bad guys, if they're light enough, they just go fucking flying across the map. Oh. And like it's like this physics thing. And then another thing that's really neat about it is that you can grab onto anything. Like you can pick up rocks and throw them. One of the things that you can do is like if there's really big enemies, and if you've seen any promotional material, you've probably seen this. Like an ogre is really big and has a lot of health. But like I can run up to an ogre, jump and grab onto his back and start stabbing him with my knives, and like climb all over him and start stabbing him and try and take him down. And he'll like flop on his back to try to get me off. And like there's this really there's just this really neat dynamic to the combat that I've never experienced in a game like this before. It's not like super deep in terms of like skills and all this stuff, but having all the pawns, like there's more strategy to like your party and everything. and how you have it built, and on top of like just being smart about the way that you go about the combat like actively. And so I'm so far really enjoying it. I don't fucking know really. The story is there and it's kind of interesting, but like it's not compelling me like something like The Witcher, or I imagine, because I hem-hawed about maybe picking up Baldur's Gate 3. And because I knew I wanted to play something like this. But Baldur's Gate 3 was still $70, and I got this. It's on sale right now. Dragon's Dogma 2 is on sale right now for $55. So I picked it up because it was on sale. I was like, oh, I'll just play this because I've been enjoying what I've been playing. And so I'm sure that like the story in Baldur's Gate is a lot better because that's like the meat and potatoes of that game is like the character choice and the story and all this other stuff. Whereas this is like, there's a little bit of a drawback to the story, the narrative element, whenever you have a bunch of NPCs that you're just swapping out willy-nilly in your party. And it's all character created stuff. It's not, tailor-made for you to experience. Now there is like
$5
story and quests and things and that's kind of where you get your story from.
Right.
But the other thing that's kind of neat about the pawn system is that all of the pawns that you come across in the game, some of them are made by Capcom, but a lot of them, especially if you go into like these rifts where it's like kind of like the shop for pawns, a lot of them are. So like I have my primary pawn that I made when I started the game. And if I go into this thing and I'm connected to the internet, all of the pawns that are available to me are pawns that other people have created that are playing this game. And they're not actively playing with me. It's like a passive online kind of component where it's like I click on a pawn, it's like, oh, that pawn looks really cool. And I really like that it's a mage and it has like sort of the level that I want and the skills that I want. But then you can see on there that like, oh, this pawn was made by user such and such. And that's kind of cool to me. Like, I know that somewhere out there, somebody probably came across the pawn that I created in their world, and they have the ability to select it and have it in their party if they want.
That's cool. That's really
and
cool.
It's cool because like you're those pawns when you're running around, they make comments to you about like, oh, I'll have to tell my master about this kind of thing, and like so it's got some neat little nods to that. There isn't like a lot that I don't like about the game so far. One of the things I will say is the camera is a little bit wonky, especially when you get into combat. Sometimes you can get turned around, which is not uncommon for these types of games. But the other thing, I did figure out that they don't have fidelity and performance mode for the graphics, but they have a setting where it's like high graphics or low graphics, which is really strange for a console game for them to call it that. But that's what they call it. And if you put it in low graphics mode, it doesn't really look any different, but it does run a lot better.
Oh, I bet.
I was saying last week that it was running at like 30 frames or whatever. It runs way, but there are some frame dips and stuff, but I would say it's still probably between 40 and 60 frames most of the time when I'm playing. Probably never like 60, but it's better than 30. It does run a lot better. But the one thing I will say that annoys the shit out of me, and this isn't exclusive to this game, but it's like a lot of RPGs like this, is that man, I fucking hate managing inventory with weight. Like being overburdened and having to like fucking sell shit and all this stuff. And like in this game, it seems unreasonably egregious because like the actual weight that I'm allowed to carry on my person without being overburdened is like a realistic number. So like my character has like a weight capacity of I think 18 kilograms, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 40 pounds. And it's like, okay, that's realistic that my character could carry around 40 pounds on them. I appreciate that. But at the same time, when I'm becoming overburdened because I'm carrying things like dried plants and fucking potions with me, it's really annoying that I have to like either just leave all of this shit,
scuttle it,
or go back to town and dump it all off. And because like if you go to an inn, you can just store all this shit. So I can like do that. But like what feeds that problem is there's no fast travel in this game. Or at least there's no easy fast travel in this game. So I can't just, like, if I'm overburdened, just fast travel to the inn, dump all my shit off, then go back where I was at. No, I have to run all the way back to the fucking inn, dump my shit off, and run all the way back out to where I was at. And the game's beautiful enough and it's fun enough to run around that it's not that big of a deal. And there are these like these stone things that allow you to fast travel. But if you want to buy them because they're single use, if you want to buy them, they're like really expensive, like prohibitively expensive. Like I've been playing the game for I think 8 or 9 hours at this point, and my character right now currently has 25,000 gold, and I think one of these things is 10,000 gold, and it's like, okay, well I'm not stocking up on these. Because they're like, they want you to not fast travel, which I get. It's just a little bit of an annoyance, but I am really enjoying it. And even though I don't know how long this game is, but I'm like 8 or 9 hours in, like I said, and I don't feel like I'm very far in the game at all. So hopefully it's not super long, but I am really enjoying it right now. So I'm not really all that concerned about it being a little bit longer. So, but that's basically it.
Dude, that sounds cool. I'm surprised that you actually bought it. You haven't bought a game like that in a while.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's really was really hitting me for some reason. I don't know. So, but
it's not a bad thing.
So I'm happy. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Although I will say, I'm pretty sure Bolt Gun is on sale right now for like $12. So I'm gonna pick that up, and that'll be waiting in the wings whenever I get a little bit bored.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
All right. We're an hour in already, dude. It's been a long podcast already. So, for any RPG fans out there, that critically successful game Sea of Stars is getting a DLC. The developer recently confirmed this on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. This is a game I have access to. I started it and then it wasn't hitting me at the time. I'm sure it's a great game. I don't really have anything else about that. Jake, did you ever play Sea of Stars? Did you try this game?
Yeah, I played it for maybe 3 or 4 hours. I didn't get super far into it, but I really liked it. These types of games, it's difficult for me to stay with something like this for a long period of time. Like, for example, Octopath Traveler. I got like 20-ish hours into that. That game's like 70 or 80 hours long. I got like 20-ish hours into it, and I was just like, I just can't go any further. And it has nothing to do, like, I still love the game, and I really enjoyed what I played of it. I think I just got distracted by other things. And so this is something that would have been dope on Vita. Like, this would have been like an awesome thing to just like kind of play occasionally on the Vita, but alas, there's no Vita anymore. So will I ever get back to this? I mean, this DLC is certainly not going to be what brings me back, but I know a lot of people love it, and hopefully they're looking forward to it, because for me DLC is really tough to get back into, because by the time it comes out usually I'm past the game. So but I'm glad that people like the game and it did well, and because that developer is really good and that game was really cool, so good for them.
Yeah, moving forward, there's some Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 news, which was surprising to me, just as a quick thing for the listeners. The game was uploaded in its entirety to a torrent site. So gameplay videos are everywhere. So if you are as invested as we are, steer clear. And the developer did make a public statement, and they say, our teams have poured years of hard work, passion, and dedication into creating a game worthy of your hopes and expectations, and it's disheartening that many of the surprises we worked to keep secret were spoiled. We're saddened that this build, which will almost be a year old by the time we launch, is how some of our most eager fans will first experience Space Marine 2. So, word of the wise to the ignorant, a lot of times when these games leak like this, you're not getting the best version of the game. So
that sucks. I mean, hopefully most people won't even realize this. They won't see anything about it. They're not really that active, and they won't play it. Because I really think that this game deserves... It's been in development for so long, and I think that it's such a cult classic that I really think that it deserves the chance to really hit on its own merit as a release title and not get slandered before launch because of some year-old build.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if the game's bad, it's bad. I don't know. I would hate to see it... If the game is good, I would hate to see some leak like this hurt its sales.
And you're not going to know if it's bad until the actual game comes out and people get their hands on with it. So I'm presuming it's going to be actually probably quite good, actually, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. There's also a fun trailer, a Grindhouse style trailer for the casting of Frank Stone, which is developed by Supermassive Games. It's going to be releasing September 3rd. This game is also going to feature a similar game mechanic to what they did with The Quarry in regards to going backwards and changing your decisions, but I'm not sure how you're going to be able to unlock that. But my guess would be is most likely after you beat the game once, you'll have options and to replay the game or certain parts of the game to change the story or the outcome. But this is the Death... what's it called? Dead by Daylight.
Dead by
Daylight.
That's what I was just looking at. It was like it's like the Dead by Daylight spinoff or whatever.
Correct. This game looks cool to me. I'm in for this shit. I'm here for it. So I don't know. I think it looks cool. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm kind of got my eye on this game. So
hope it's good because I've been actually looking for a reason to play a game like this again.
Did you play The Quarry or not?
I did not play it. No.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that game.
It was one of those things where it's like I was like, oh man, they're going back to the well with the whole teen horror
camp
thing.
Slasher, yeah,
and then whenever it had like a lukewarm reception, I was just like, I don't feel a need to like rush to this right now. And I mean, I know that. Like you're a huge Supermassive stan, so it's like you liked it, right?
I did like it, yeah.
And that's not a bad. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, dude, I love things too.
You know, I just love stories.
Yeah.
So
the thing is that I guarantee you, if I played all these games, I'd like them too, because when it comes to stories, I am generally so good at suspending my disbelief that things like little inconsistencies and plot holes in stories don't really bug me.
Yeah.
So like, as long as the story is presented well and it has like a relatively satisfying conclusion, I mean, it's really hard to say
it sucks.
Yeah. But I'm a simpleton in that regard.
Easy. Don't be so hard on yourself. Hey, so this next news point. Oh, I didn't even jot down that timestamp. Well, fuck it. All right. The next one is... Let's do 11340. The next news point, sorry guys, is the First Descendant had some shade thrown on it. Specifically regarding the in-game icons that they had chosen to use and how similar these icons looked like Destiny 2's icons. Now, if you remember, I played the demo or whatever, and I 100% compared the game to Destiny 2 meets maybe like Horizon or something. So it's obvious the First Descendant has been inspired by Destiny 2. But Nexon has announced they will be updating the in-game icons to appease people. Is that an admission of guilt? I'm not sure. But on a side note, the first week of the First Descendant has seen 10 million players try the game.
I mean, they're marketing it like fucking crazy. So I am curious what kind of a tale this game is going to have, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. But everything I've read about it and seen about people playing it, they're just like, yeah, it's a fucking knockoff. And I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it seems like some of this stuff is shameless, like with these icons and stuff. So I don't really know. I have it installed. I just haven't tried it. So I might boot it up one of these days and just kind of check it out, play a couple missions or something, and see what it's like. But just based on the feedback I've been seeing, I don't know if I'm gonna be all that interested in playing this game now. And I know you said it was, you were kind of lukewarm on it as well, which is neither here nor there, I guess. But who knows? Maybe I'd love it, but it's not. I'm definitely not rushing towards it anymore.
Well, a game sneaked up on me that I was really not even aware of its existence, I don't believe. And it's called Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. The folks over at wherever played it, PlayStation Access, like the European... British, yeah. The British, I think they're British Brits over there. I don't know where they're from, but they have a PlayStation channel. Anyways, they were playing some gameplay videos, so I put it on the list here of things to talk about. So I checked it out on Push Square, what they had to say about it. They said that the game's actually pretty good. They said that the enemies, though, lack a lot of variation, and the combat and everything else is pretty good. They said that the story is serviceable. It's nothing to like go crazy about, but the aesthetic of the game, I think, is really interesting. Have you seen this game?
I have, and I was really interested in it too, but I'm pretty sure this is a Souls-like game. And so that when I saw that, I immediately, my brain switched off. Just because, like, I'm not that. I mean, to be fair, people talked about Stellar Blade like it was a Souls-like game, and I fucking love that game. So that's not necessarily a deal breaker for me. I think I just need to see a little bit more, because like you, I thought that the style of it and everything looked really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's when does that come out? Do you know? It comes out this month, next month?
It comes out on the 16th today.
Oh. Interesting.
Yesterday, actually, recorded this on the 17th, so it's out. Moving on, Double Dragon Revive. I am so annoyed that they keep trying to do cool shit with these old properties. But then I look at it, I want to love this thing. There's a new trailer dropped. It's just way too modern and try hard, so... It's just got this new art style, and it doesn't even look good. Like, if they did, like, a Streets of Rage approach, I still think the Temu, or whatever, they're called, has done the best remake of any of these old beat-em-ups that I've seen. Better than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, even, too. But this doesn't do it for me, this Double Dragon thing. I don't know who their audience is here. If you're going to do it, you got to preserve some of what made Double Dragon, the original, cool. And they just did not do that. It
just looks like almost like a Street Fighter ripoff or something. Like it's because I'm scrubbing through a trailer of it now. What they should have done is they should have done it in the vein of, like you're saying, like the Streets of Rage 4 or like Shredder's Revenge or something like that, where it's like, it's still that old school art style, but it's kind of updated and a little flashier. So it probably wouldn't run on an SNES, but it's got kind of that flavor to it. And I think it would have been much better. Or even like a flat 2D, more anime style or something would have been kind of cool.
Right.
But yeah, this looking at that, scrubbing through that trailer, it's not really doing it for me either.
I just don't know why game studios, they have all this money to do this thing, and I don't know like why they can't do it with a little more tact or appreciation for, the history, the lineage the game has. Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, Double Dragon 1, Double Dragon 2 are probably the most iconic of any of the Double Dragon games. I don't know why they wouldn't just go back and try to do it like that.
You played Did you play Double Dragon Neon? Remember when that came out on PS3?
Yeah, I played it. It didn't really do it for me.
It wasn't very good either. Like do you remember? I don't know why you would remember. I had Double Dragon on Game Boy. That's where I played it. I didn't play it on NES, which was like the port of the arcade version or whatever.
Right.
But that game, I used to love playing that game on NES. Like that whole opening scene where like that muscle dude comes up and just like fucking punches your girlfriend and then carries her away. Like that's just so funny to me. And like the whole thing about you trying to get her back. And then, I don't know, man, I'm not like this huge beat 'em up fan. You know, I enjoy them from time to time, but, yeah, I just think that it's really unfortunate that they can't, like, why not just, who knows? Maybe this game will be great.
It's not gonna be.
They just like, do they not understand when they greenlight these types of games that like people want an homage to the OG?
They know.
Like it doesn't have to be a carbon copy.
They wouldn't be putting these games out if they didn't acknowledge the want for the game. But then they're like, it's like, oh, you really want Pizza Hut pizza? All right. Here, why don't you try this instead? It's still pizza.
And it's like fucking frozen veggie
Tony's
pizza
or
something.
some shit. Yeah. It's, just,
it's like, what? Come on, guys.
Give me the fucking thing.
It's like, you know what would be? I don't know.
It's Gino's Pizza.
But it's tough, though, because if you think about it, there are examples of this working. I mean, look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, that game, people were so worried about that and thought it was going to be bad. And it came out and it just blew the world away. And it was completely different from a graphical and gameplay style than the original. So I'm sure people see stuff like that and they're just like, oh, well, we could do the same thing with Double Dragon. And there were examples, like, but why not do it in a vein more like Strider? You remember that, right?
So good.
Like, they updated the graphics and made things a little more 3D and, like, a little bit more HD.
And the newer Contra looks pretty good that we saw the trailer for recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But hopefully it's not the shittiest game in the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be better. I'm sure it'll be better than whatever that G.I. Joe game is that's coming out. Because those games are cursed.
Oh my God.
But
Don't get me started right now.
Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll have to see. Anyway.
I almost forgot that is a thing. All right. There are new screenshots, Jake, for the Metro Awakening VR2 game, and it looks awesome. So, every time I'm like, I don't know about VR, something reminds me why it's so fucking awesome. Like the racing wheel sitting in my house now that I have yet to even try. Like, if you would have caught me, like, I don't know, 7 months ago, or whenever VR came out and I was playing the shit out of Gran Turismo 7, oh yeah, I'd been all over that shit. Haven't plugged it in, haven't tried it. Didn't even pay for it. Just sitting up there. You know, lent to me by a buddy. And it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
We haven't had it very long, to be fair.
I only had like 3 days.
Like it's been there for a month.
I should have tried it by now, though. See what all the nonsense is about.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend. I don't know. Anything about this Metro game? I mean, is this enough to get you to put the VR2 headset back on?
Well, I mean, we'll see when it comes out. Do we have a release date for it, or is it just still kind of out in the ether?
I don't know.
Do you even know what it's... Metro Awakening is what it's called?
Yeah, it's Metro Awakening. I'm so tired if you haven't.
It just says 2024, so I guess we don't really know.
I mean, we're
yet.
close.
But
It's
I will
July.
say, it looks great. So I don't know. I mean, if it gives me a similar experience to like I got with Resident Evil, I mean, I was hook, line, and sinker on Village. So if I can get a similar sort of immersion and like level of fidelity and AAA-ness, because I think that's really what it takes. I mean, the reason why Village is so good in VR is because it was made in a AAA capacity to be amazing in VR. And I feel like most of these games are just like kind of shoehorned. And I'm hoping that Metro is more like Resident Evil than it is something like, I don't know, freaking name any random VR shooter.
It's definitely going to be a post-apocalyptic survival VR game. So
sure.
8 days ago, and I will say this, and I don't think that anyone really knows this unless you've done a little digging, the author of the Metro games, that Dimitri guy, penned this game.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's cool.
He was contracted to make this game. So real quick, if you go to the PlayStation blog, they have some new shit posted on here, and it just says that the game story has been created in collaboration with the original author. What it says on the PlayStation blog, one of the first things that we did when we embarked upon this project was to reach out to Dimitri. For us, almost like we were expecting him to come in and come up with another story for the game that was in line with the other Metro games, but instead he came up with a very, very personal, emotional story for a new character. It also meant that our focus started to shift from taking a straightforward approach to a more story-heavy and story-driven approach in this particular game. And of course, the Metro series has always been known for the story that differentiates from other first-person shooters out there. But this time around, I think Dimitri really wanted to make sure that the story and development of the character was even more important. And then it says, part of the onboarding process for every team member is to play the games, of course. And so we look at what the strengths are of the franchise and specifically on which of those strengths are translatable to VR. And some of the things we noticed is the dynamic that they have between stealth and combat, and always making sure that you're on your toes and that you're never really sure when people are going to spot you. That's something that works very, very well in VR. There's just something about creeping up on enemies, listening to what they're talking about. Of course, the nature of VR, you can physically sit behind cover. Maybe you can peer through a hole in the cover, and they can spy you on and you can spy on your enemies. It says, but assured for everybody that is a little bit more trigger happy, there's plenty of classic Metro action. So and they're keeping it close to like the 4A. So it's a different developer. So it's being. Oh, God, I can't remember who's developing. Vertigo Games is developing this. This is the Arizona Sunshine and After the Fall studio. They've been working on this for quite a while, several years. So I'm excited about this. So they said there's going to be 2 presets. They have a comfort preset and they have an immersion preset. In an immersion, the default locomotion setting is continuous stick movements with snap rotation. Of course, we also offer settings you can change the settings to make something even more immersive, such as continuous rotation. If you want to have a bit of a more comfortable experience, then you can set your locomotion settings to teleport. So I won't be doing that. I'll be doing straight up locomotion regular.
Depends how good it is. Some of them are really disorienting.
Yeah.
But like Resident Evil, after I played it that way for maybe a half hour to an hour and like forced myself to acclimate to it, it's the only way to play it.
It is the only way. Yeah.
So it behooves you to get good at it. I just hope that it feels decent in this game.
Get your VR legs. So anyways, that out of the way, I have one last thing to talk about, and I don't even know where I started talking about. I'm going to say 125. I'm just making up timestamps at this point. The last one this is weird because this is a free-to-play game. Genshin Impact is getting a console bundle. So strange.
I mean, it makes gazillions of dollars, so yeah. I'm sure that's probably part of it.
I
have a relationship with PlayStation.
I really liked my time with Genshin Impact, if I'm being completely honest. It's just the gacha system has just got a little a little confusing for me, and when games get too intricate with like all the subsystems and subsets, like this is coming from the Darkest Dungeon guy, but like it is a turnoff. But if you do it, if the game has enough appeal, I'll try to figure the shit out. And I tried for a long time with Genshin. I played it a bit. My brother was playing it. It's fun to come up and learn a game with somebody else. But he kept going, and I was just, I can't fucking keep doing this game. It's just, I don't understand what I'm doing. Go around, you fight things, collect things, and then you spend fake money on other things, and I don't understand. And then I was always worried that like maybe the fake money I was spending was actually coming out of my PSN account. I was like, no, I think it's fake. And it was fake, but back to that whole trust issue. Anyways, that's it for the news, but we are going to talk about some new games that are coming out or have come out this week. My favorite, which you guys are going to have to suffer through me talking about Darkest Dungeon for the next couple episodes. July 15th, Darkest Dungeon 2, PS5, PS4. Retaliate on PS5. July 16th, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, sweep the board. Evil, that's a weird. Evil
v Evil.
Evil v Evil, so Evil Vivo. Yeah, I don't know, that's weird. PS5, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, we talked about that. Flock on PS5, PS4. Let's School on PS5, PS4. Nobody Wants to Die on PS5. July 18th, Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus on PS5. Over Horizon X Steel Empire on PS4. And Shim, SCHIM on PS5, PS4. Finally, July 19th, EA Sports College Football on PS5. And Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess on PS5. Actually, not a bad week in games, dude. Some of these look pretty cool. Darkest Dungeon's great. The Flintlock game looks good.
Dude, this is the first EA Sports College Football game in like 15 years. So it's pretty big as far as gaming goes. Maybe like our audience doesn't really care about it. I've heard that, but I used to play the college football games a little bit whenever I was in like college, actually, believe it or not. Long time ago, like 06, 07, like that kind of era. I've heard that Path of the Goddess game is pretty good. It doesn't seem like the gameplay style of it doesn't seem like it's for me, but I've heard that it's pretty decent, so some people might be interested in looking into that. Obviously, you like Darkest Dungeon, but yeah, I don't think it's a bad week. Looks half decent.
Yeah, looks good, man. Looks good. Well, that's all I have for the show. Now, I don't know, Jake, if you have anything specific that you'd like to announce for closing. We all know we have real-world jobs. I got a promotion at work. I'm excited about it. I think a lot of this has been wearing me out. It's been really, really stressful. Just good things. It's all good things, but it's stressful stuff. So apologize that the episode didn't come out earlier. A lot of moving and shaking over here in Oakman territory, but I appreciate, which I'm presuming, the congratulations you're thinking about in your head, and I'll do one of these.
Yeah.
So thank you. But yeah, just onwards and upwards, just doing different stuff, switching my schedule up a little bit at work, and it's trying to find how to nest all of the other things I love to do in life around the new schedule that I'm going to be starting in August. So just trying to figure out how it all fits together still. But outside of that, it's been a hot week. It's been a crazy week, news-wise, gaming and non-gaming alike. I don't know. Nothing else. Hopefully I get my AC fixed. That's top tier priority. If I don't hear from them tomorrow, I'm going to blow a gasket. Oh, but I don't know, man. What about you? You good for the show? You want to say anything to the listeners?
I over the weekend I didn't buy it. I temporarily have some excavation equipment at my house, and I've been literally it's a skid loader or skid steer, if you guys are familiar. Bobcat makes a really famous looking one. little wheels that are close together, little bucket, other attachments you could put on it. And I've just been driving around my property just fucking shit up. And I'm really bad at driving it. So there's that.
That's
but
interesting to me. I figured you'd
it's
be good
really it's fun, don't get me wrong. It's kind of, I mean, it's scary because these things have so much power and they're so heavy. But because you can really fuck shit up with them if you're not careful.
Oh yeah.
But trying to do something as simple as like fill in a depression in my yard and like grade it flat with this thing really puts into perspective like the skill that these guys that do it for a living, like the kind of skill they have to use this machinery in the ways that they do. Because like you see, oh, it's just some fucking,
out of shape
guy, yeah, on the side of the road running his hoof. Yeah, everybody. I want to say everybody, but I think that like people just look at these guys on the side of the road when they go by them. They're just like kind of like, oh fuck, whatever.
I can do that. Look at these lazy
but
assholes.
Like,
yeah, right.
Man, it is not easy, and I have a newfound appreciation for it. Thankfully, my dad has been coming over and helping me with a little bit with that too.
Yeah.
So he's been able to do some of that work for me because he's a lot better at it than I am. But yeah, that's one of the things that I've been really enjoying. And other than that, no, I'm just doing a lot of shit on the house.
Did you?
Go
ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
I was just to say my cousin. My cousin bought a dual sport motorcycle this year.
Nice.
And we have a family function on Sunday this weekend. And so he's going to come up on Saturday with his dual sport, and we're going to go like bomb some dirt roads and stuff. So I'm really excited about that because I haven't had a chance to really go out and ride that thing at all this year. So there's your like little teeny tidbit of motorcycle talk for the week.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I took the Sporty up to Edinburgh, and I left my iPad at the show, dude. I left it on the ledge.
Yeah, you told me that.
And then so I took the bike up there. I was like, well, this is an opportunity to take the motorcycle somewhere. So I took it a little more motorcycle. I took it up there, and like as I'm riding, I got to like Cambridge, and I'm like, it's looking kind of dark up there. Yeah, go figure. It's fucking pouring down rain in Edinburgh, so I had to ride through rain for a bit. I mean, that's the best way to learn, really. You know what I mean? Like, to get exposed to that stuff, you get more comfortable the more you do it. But it's kind of a pain in the ass, if I'm being honest, doing that. It's never fun, especially when you're not dressed for it.
Riding in the rain?
Yeah.
People don't understand. Like, it is scary, don't get me wrong. But as long as you don't have shit tires on your motorcycle, it's not as dangerous as you would think it would be.
No, it's not.
It's more the elements that are the problem. Mm-hmm. You get freaking soaked. Like, if you don't have a full face helmet, it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Like, the rain hitting your face hurts.
It does hurt.
So, like, Sarah and I were driving home from some family function a little while ago. I can't remember what it was. Maybe the 4th of July or something. I don't remember. But it was like a downpour. And there was this couple on this motorcycle driving in front of us, and I was like, "Holy moly, that must suck." Mm-hmm. But
you don't think about, but I mean, like, think about like the bike, like how important it is to be able to use the throttle and like be able to grab the grips and stuff. Like, if you don't have gloves that are working well, or if like you're just out for like a quick ride, and you get caught in that shit, your hands could be slipping around. It's fucking crazy. Luckily I was prepared enough, but yeah, to your point, man, I think that it's you don't think about those kinds of things often when you're in a car. But imagine going like fucking 60 miles an hour in the rain. Like, just hold your hand out when you're in a car and raindrops are hitting it. And now imagine like your whole body just. But I mean, that's why you wear protection and wear clothing, and that's why that's stressed when you learn to ride a bike.
You get soaked like instantly too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just covered.
which is wild.
Just covered. But yeah, so I mean, I wasn't in the rain long. I rode out. I knew where I was just out and back, so I knew as soon as I got a little bit out of Edinburgh, it was going to clear up. But and it did, and that was kind of fun to feel too. But I was going to say the only kind of skid steer, whatever kind of equipment I've ever driven was a Ditch Witch. And that was fun.
Hell yeah.
And I did move a skid steer once with no experience on how to do it. When I worked in an old folks home, and they were really into like renovating buildings and stuff, and they needed me to drive this like skid steer thing to the building that they were working on. And there was like a tree root. I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that, but they had the Ditch Witch up there, and they had the skid steer, and I had to. And jacking into this thing, like I don't even know if it was a skid steer. I think it was, but like you put the fucking thing over, like I don't know, it was a big fucking tank like thing, and it was huge. Had no business operating it. And you jack in like you're sitting in a fucking mech or something from Mech Warrior, and you're just like, all right, I'm responsible for a lot of shit, like, you know. And it's they were just like, here's how you do it, and I was like, all right, I can handle that. And then I was confident enough, played enough video games, I figured it out. But the Ditch Witch was a lot of fun too. Those things are cool as shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I might be renting one of those at some point here soon because I'm going to put in some French drains for my gutters. But yeah, it's cool. Like, it's cool. Just, I mean, even if you don't do it for a living or whatever, I think that like having these little experiences, even if you do it once in your life just to try it and like know what it's like, then like I said, the next time you drive past a guy that's, you know, grading a driveway before they pour concrete or something, you're just like, oh, like I know what that's like. You know what I mean? Like there's something cool about just having a bunch of these little experiences that you can think back on when you're just going through your day to day. So I'm always down for trying new things like that. And yeah, it's cool.
It is cool, dude. But yeah, all right, let's get out of here. It's late. It's 8:00. It's Wednesday. I'm tired as balls. Oh, I wanted to thank the listeners before we sign off for notifying us that Dude, I've been running on empty. I uploaded episode 333, the audio file, but had all the 334 data and stuff on the feeds, and it's since been re-uploaded. So for anyone who gave me a quick message on Patreon or on the YouTube channel to say, hey, I think this is the same episode as last week's, you weren't wrong. It was. We had recorded the new episode, but I uploaded the wrong one to the audio feeds, into the Patreon, into the but the YouTube video was current, but the audio feed was the old feed from the previous week. So anyways, I'll do my best not to make that mistake this time around. But thanks to the listeners for cluing me in, and we were able to get that resolved pretty quick. So thank you. Outside of that, I think that's it for the show. If anyone out there listening to the show is playing Darkest Dungeon 2 or has any advice for me with what I need to do to get my head wrapped around all the meta shit with it, please write in. Let's open a dialogue with me, because I love this game and I want to love Darkest Dungeon 2. So I just have to dive in, I think, and just get my feet wet a little more. But anyways, I appreciate it. Like Red Dead Redemption, RBI Baseball, and Rage. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.